Kendall Marvel. You're streaming the Melodies and Memories podcast with Jillian and Aaron Schreiber.
Welcome to the Melodies and Memories podcast with Jillian and Aaron Schreiber, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, they connect melodies and memories with fans and singer-songwriters from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your hosts of the Melodies and Memories podcast, Jillian and Aaron Schreiber.
Hey, how you guys doing tonight? Man, we're excited for another awesome show. We'll talk about it here in a minute, but tonight's been a long time coming for me. Even Jillian said when I told her, I'm like, oh, guess who's coming on tonight?
The first time you saw him, you were like, oh my gosh, I got to talk to this guy.
Well, this goes back to, goes back to when I first heard, when I used to be an avid Bobby Bones listener when I used to work at Genesee Theater, because we got to put something in your ear while we're doing maintenance of this old theater. And so that's when I first heard of tonight's guest. So we'll get into that later though. But yeah, we're going to test out the audio, make sure everything sounds good. If you guys are in the chat, let us know, give us a thumbs up. Let us know where you're listening to or listening from tonight.
We know what you're listening to.
Yeah, listening from.
Hopefully you like what you're listening to.
or let us know what you're listening to or music too. Yeah. Well, what's your favorite song today?
Who do you guys want to see on the show?
Yeah. We're sorry. We're just trying to test out the audio, make sure everything sounds good before we start rocking.
I think we're good.
Sound good on your end?
We're good.
All right, cool.
Hello and welcome everyone to season 7 of the Melodies and Memories podcast. I'm your co-host, Jillian Schreiber.
And I'm your host, Aaron Schreiber.
Our mission tonight is to provide a platform for motivated singer-songwriters, passionate fans, or someone who's making a difference in and around the music community. We hope everyone listening leaves inspired with a positive outlook and begins connecting their own melodies to memories. Tonight, we're presented by our good friends at Arlo Revolution. Cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. Find them at arlorevolution.com. One tree planted. For every 1,000 downloads of the show, we plant a tree with one tree planted. Download the show on your favorite podcast app. Poddex. Poddex is the hottest tool to get your next great interview. Unique interview questions in the palm of your hand. Our on-screen sponsors are Art on a Higher Wire by Joelle. Original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. If you're looking ways to support or sponsor Melodies and Memories music media, then please head on over to our Patreon page where tiers start at just $1 a month. The next best way to support the show is to like, share, review, and subscribe. Remember, you can join us live every Monday night at 7 p.m. Central on Facebook and YouTube. You can interact with the show, ask questions, or join in on our live chat with your favorite guests. Visit our website, Melodies and Memories, for music news, concert reviews, photos, playlists, and more.
I think we lost Heath.
Our
guest. I'm trying to find out.
Well, everybody hang tight.
Yeah, hang tight, guys. He was there. I looked down and I'm like, all right, we'll get ready to bring him on. And he was gone.
He ghosted us. I'm just kidding. He'll be back. Give him a second.
Yeah, he was there for the sound check. So I'm like, he was there the whole time. And now I looked down. I'm like, what happened to his feed?
Yeah. So I remember when you first got to see him when you went to one of the writers' rounds in Nashville. You're like, oh my goodness, there's this guy.
There we go.
We got to see. Oh,
there he is.
Let's see.
But yeah, what I was saying earlier, before when we went live, they don't get to hear all of our mumbo jumbo before when we're testing the audio before you read all of our legal stuff. But I used to, back in the day, probably, 2016, 2017, somewhere in there. I used to work at this old theater, Genesee Theater. I used to always get to listen to the morning show, Bobby Bones in the morning. And that's when I first heard of tonight's guest, Heath Sanders. I got to hear his journey and how just amazing it was. And it's really cool because you talk about full circle moments. Earlier this year, we had Mark Allen Springer on. And during our episode, we got to talk a little bit about Heath Sanders. Last week, we had Kendall Marvel on, who wrote the song Either Way, which you guys know Heath Sanders put out and it kind of went viral overnight. But we are very excited.
Stars are connecting.
Yes. And tonight we welcome in Heath Sanders for episode 161. Arkansas native Heath Sanders is a prime example of hard work and determination. With humble beginnings in the oil field, Sanders refused to let his circumstances limit his ambition. He decided to take his future in his own hands, learning how to play guitar and penning his own original music. His hardworking attitude and natural songwriting talent led him to becoming an up-and-coming singer-songwriter in the music industry. It's clear that Sanders is a perfect representation of how dedication and how dedication can help you reach your goals. Tonight, we are honored to discuss the melodies and memories that make up his journey. Let's welcome Heath Sanders on. Yeah, I know how you are with that read. I am too. What's up, buddy? How you doing, man?
Man, I don't know, but that just got me pumped up right there. Never go write a song.
Yeah, right,
Let's
boy,
do
man,
it.
dude. Like I said, this has been a long time coming to get you to come on tonight, and we are so excited to have you on as a guest. Just listen to your journey, man. Be able to listen to the whole Bobby Bones experience you had, and learning a little bit about your past and everything. Then kind of just researching for the show, man, and learning a little bit more about you. I'm really excited to kind of just dig into kind of what got you back into music, man, and what got you into music in the first place back in the day. And we like to kind of start this week or this show off the same way each week and kind of get your earliest music memory, dude. And it's really what brought you up.
Man, whew. Well, first off, it's good to be here, guys. Thank you.
Yeah.
It has been a long time coming, brother.
Yeah, dude.
Man, I'll tell you what really set my love for music off was my grandpa. And, you know, I told this story a lot of times, but, you know, we always sang and played in church, all my family members. My grandpa, he never went to church much. And, but he done a lot of singing and playing in his recliner. He had this old red guy. I think it was a Guild guitar or something. But he'd just wear that thing out. But he'd sit there and play old Marty Robbins and stuff. Just stuff that's just so timeless country music, man. And I remember just being 2 and 3 years old. That's some of my earliest memories that I can, you know, vividly remember sitting there he always kept this plastic mat in front of his recliner so he didn't, you know, bother the carpet. You know what I mean? So he didn't make bad spots on the carpet. And I'd sit curled up on that mat between his boots, and he'd sit there and play songs to me just as long as I wanted him to. And that's where I think that's where the love began, right there.
That mat had some sharp teeth underneath of it too, didn't it?
Yeah.
I remember those mats, dude. Those mats had those sharp teeth, but man,
Yeah, dude. Have you ever got them things upside down?
Yeah.
Yeah. He used to. I've been on the receiving end of that many times. When I was real little, you could start in the kitchen, and Papa he chewed Red Man all the time. And if anybody remember them old Red Man pouches? They were aluminum foil, so you could crumple them up real tight. And we'd get enough of them together, we'd make a little football out of them. And I'd run from the kitchen into the living room, and he'd throw that Red Man football at me, and I'd make a diving catch, you know. And many times I got an arm up under that old plastic mat. And I thought I was really in a game there for a minute.
Yeah, right.
I mean, what would we do without grandparents? I'm the same way, dude. With my grandfathers, the memories I have, and he wasn't really a music guy, but he taught me life. He was like my fishing buddy. So we go out and he would teach me life. And I got my music from my dad. So that's why I'm like, all right.
Yeah, man, it's cool as you get older and you start seeing, you know, the signs of age start to hit your body and your face and stuff. But a lot of things you can attribute to your grandpa, and it's really cool to see those things that he had on his face, those recognizable things, start to happen to me, and it's pretty special, man.
Yeah, man, I love it. Definitely kind of molding into the man he was. So, because I mean, all of our grandfathers were truly amazing people. So,
well, I hope so.
Oh, yeah,
I hope I'm half a man. I hope I become half a man that day was.
You know, he's damn proud of you, buddy.
Well, I'd like to think so. I'm sure he would be in some spots. I'm sure he wouldn't be in others, but you know, I'm doing the best every day.
Hell yeah, dude. So we always like to ask everybody their first concert experience. I kind of cheated and found yours out, which is amazing because my cousin loves this band and just absolutely. But tell me a little bit about your first concert experience and just leaving that night and kind of what you're thinking. Like, damn, what was that?
Man, it was I think it was 2002. You know, I never going to a concert never crossed my mind. Daddy was a preacher, and concerts were a big no-no. Rock music was as well. And when I was 17, I discovered the band Tool, and drums were my first instrument. And Danny Carey is one of the greatest drummers of all time, and I absolutely fell in love with that band and their lyrics and just kind of what they was. You know, they were real. They wasn't in the public eye. They were kind of dark and mysterious, and I really dug that. And I saved up my money and went and saw them at, I believe it was the Alltel Arena back then in Little Rock, Arkansas. And that's the first time I really realized the level you could take music to in a stadium like that. I didn't really realize because they had all the monitors in sync with the music and the videos, and it was just, man, it was crazy. I do remember driving home. Me and my sister actually went with me to that concert. We got pulled over on the way home. I guess I was still daydreaming about what it was like being at that concert. He pulled us over doing 30 and a 55, just checked to make sure we was all right. I'm sure there was some other things. I'm sure there was some other things the cause of that, but we won't talk about that.
Yeah, right. I know how that goes. It was nice. No, my first show was 97. I was 17 as well. I got to see Kiss. And after that, dude, the rock show, just this huge rock show. My dad and my uncle put me in the front row, dead center. I just got to witness all that. I still got a $5 bill that has like fake blood on it and stuff.
Yeah,
so
your first one was all pyro and all that
yeah.
stuff too, man. Yeah, that's how to get broke in right there for sure.
Well, that's what I was saying. Like, I remember after the show just saying, damn, what did I just witness? Like, what was that? And that's just why I'm like, I got to do something around music. Like, I couldn't sing or play or anything, but I'm like, I always wanted to do something with the industry. So here I am. So for you though, when did you start playing guitar? You said you started, your drums were your first instrument. So when did you pick up the guitar finally?
I know this is strange, and I heard Luke Combs saying this on the interview the other day about how many people I think his mama had told him that Kenny Chesney and another artist hadn't started playing guitar till he was 21, and so he started when he was 21, and I started when I was 21.
Okay.
I'd never really shown. I've been in love with drums, so much, but I learned that not all neighbors were as tolerant as mine, when I was a kid regarding the drums. So yeah, I picked up the guitar and started to play a little bit, and wrote a couple songs early on. Then they were terrible, but yeah, 21 years old, man, and hell, I still don't know how to play the dang thing. I just kind of beat on it till it gives me what I want. What I want.
So did you have any bands in high school or anything with playing drums?
Man, my first band I was ever in, I played the drums in church, but after I kind of got out and rebelled a little bit, the first band I was ever in was a band out of Conway, Arkansas called the Lost Gringos. The Lost White Boys, I think, is what that meant. And we were certainly lost. They were cool guys, though. It was a lot of fun. And then I joined a band a couple years after that, playing the drums for a band called Cabin Fever with a bunch of my buddies from Marshall, Arkansas. We used to play in that. We'd play the Choctaw VFW about twice a month, and that was a highlight of our life right there. That was a lot of fun looking back on that.
Yeah.
Man,
Nice.
I love that.
One of these days we're gonna have a reunion tour back to the Choctaw VFW. That's where some of my most fond memories were made. There ain't a lot of pictures from there though. You can't see in front of your face. All they got's a couple of burnout light bulbs here and there. The rest covered up in smoke. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that.
So at 18, you're offered a job in the oil field, man. Tell me what made you jump for this? I mean, it had to be good money, but with good money comes hard work, and it's dangerous out there in those fields. I mean, I know it just had to be some times where you're kind of second guessing it, but tell me a little bit about actually driving into that job.
Well, I'll tell you what, Aaron, there wasn't nothing about it at 18 years old that paid well. I thought it did, but by golly, just starting out, I was working it. I remember I got a job at Pizza Hut, just kind of doing everything, waiting tables and making pizzas and doing all this stuff. I think I got it when I was 16 or 17, and I had this guy that come in regular all the time, and he always liked talked about the way I hustled. And Sonny, get out of here. My dog's gonna come in here and say hi, but he was always talking about my hustle. He's always like, man, I like the way you work. You turn 18, let me know I got you a job. So the day I turned 18, I ended up calling the feller and got a job working for, I don't remember their name, but they was out of Atkins, Arkansas. And we worked rebuilding oil field well heads and barricades out on the pads there. And that was some of the worst work. That's some of the hardest work I ever done in my life. It was rough. I think we made $8 an hour. And like you said, I thought I was rolling it in, boy. But yeah, that was a rough job, man. Then I went from, I had a couple years experience there in the oil field early on. Then I went and done a few other things. I finished sheetrock for a while, trimmed trees for Arkansas Electric for a while. and then landed back in the oil field for several years before the music thing took off.
That's
But,
nice, man. So we'll talk a little bit about that because that's around the time you were working in the oil fields. You decided your buddy was a buddy that kind of had you put the video up of Either Way, which I don't know if you heard in the intro. We had Kendall Marvel on last week, which we asked him if there was one song that he would like to be remembered by. It was Either Way. And then when I looked and when we had you coming, I'm like, man, talk about a small world.
Yeah, man. Yeah. The story there is, I was making really good money in the oil field and loved the job and everything. And man, I believe it was 2017, gas prices fell and natural gas prices followed suit. So they cut our hours back and I just started playing music on the side, man, just to kind of make some lunch money here and there. And my buddy from Texas, who's a Boilermaker down there, he's a musician as well, and he dared me to put Either Way online. And I did, and by golly, it took off. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I lived out, probably 25 minutes from the closest grocery store. I mean, down miles and miles of dirt road out in Ozark National Forest, and I loved it. And I just never imagined that starting to play a couple of bars here and there would ever lead me to where I'm at today. That's for sure.
It's awesome because fellow Arkansas native Bobby Bones heard it and picked up on it and called you right away. I mean, it was within a couple of days, and then he said, 48 hours or so you had to be in Nashville.
Yeah, this is my favorite part of this story, man. My favorite part of my whole journey, like that.
Yeah.
Like the good Lord saying, hey, it's meant to be. But I hadn't, like I told you, I tried to write a couple of songs in my early 20s and stuff, and they just terrible. And I remember I woke up on a Sunday morning after the Either Way video had went viral, like 2 or 3 days afterwards. Woke up one morning on a Sunday and I started writing Bloodline. And I sat there and I wrote a verse and half a chorus, and my Facebook Messenger went off, and it was Bobby Bones. And it was just the weirdest thing, man. A feller who just, by the grace of the good Lord, got to go viral. And then 3 days later, decides to write his first song, and the biggest country music radio DJ in the world reaches out to him. While he's got his guitar in his lap and his, notebook and pen on the table. It was kind of one of those, that was one of those moments that anytime I've kind of doubted whether I need to be here or not, that was one of those moments I look back on like, man, that didn't just happen, So yeah, that's a pretty cool moment in my life.
I remember this, listen to it and him telling the story about like just the backstory. And I was like, damn, dude, this is really cool because Bobby Bones, you either love him or hate him. He has fans and he doesn't have fans type thing. But I loved listening to the guy because I thought he had a damn good opinion on country music and everything else. And it was really cool that he would bring somebody from his home state up and give him a shot like that. He put you ended up putting you up in front of 3 people, including Christian Butch, which was huge. You got some great advice. And I heard something kind of cool about this. You got the tour after that, Universal. You got a couple of Sony and Universal. You got to hear some unreleased Eric Church stuff, I heard.
Yeah, dude, I had never been in a building over 3 stories. I don't think they took me from up to the top of Universal. I was kind of scared, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
but,
I would be too.
Yeah, got to go up in there and talk to Brian Wright and just look around inside Universal and just kind of see, the home base of all these great songs that come out and all these great artists that I love. And yeah, really, really cool stuff, man. Nashville's, it's got its issues, but it ain't scared to welcome new people with open arms. And so there's some respect to be had there.
No, it's just cool that they wanted to kind of bring you up and show you, hey, Dan, this is what's out there. This is what we see you doing and stuff like that. Because dude, your style is in the Stapleton Church style, and I love that because you're true to yourself, and that's how your songwriting has been ever since Bloodline, everything you released since then. And I love it because honestly, I was hearing it over the radio. I'm like, damn, this guy is legit. This song it hits with everybody. It didn't matter if we're from Chicago area. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter. I'm a North redneck, I guess, a Northern redneck when it comes to
hey, let me tell you something, bud. There's some up there. I'm telling you right now.
Ain't that the truth?
We spent 5 years in
Hey,
Mississippi, but
that's one of the biggest shocks of my career thus far. You know, I'd never, and I tell people this from the stage all the time, but I'd never been north of Springfield, Missouri, and never been west of Texas before I took off on this journey here. And dude, going up north, that's the biggest shock of my career. Going up north and going out to California and stuff, realizing how many rednecks there are everywhere.
Right? That's
And
so
it was
true.
a pleasant surprise.
one of the bigger shows you got to play was in Chicago too with Cody Johnson, right?
Yeah, dude, I'll never forget that. That guy right there he's what country music is. I mean, to the core, that dude he's about as close to perfect as they come in country music, man. From the vocals to the playing to the songs to the message, bro. That even when he's not singing, when he's just kind of preaching to the crowd. Man, you talk about being proud to be an American, proud to be a redneck. And just being proud to be a part of country music. That guy, he brings the heat every time he takes the stage.
Dude, that's awesome. I hate that we missed that, man. That would have been a hell of a show.
Yeah, for
was
sure.
it you and Justin Moore and Cody? Or was
Yeah.
it? Yeah, dude, that would have been. Dude. I remember when that show came through. I don't know what we were doing. We had something going
probably
on.
something with the kids or something. Next time.
So
I'll tell you, man, the guys that I got to open up with Justin Moore, man, I really got to see some cool shows, man. Got to open up for a lot of cool people. If you've never seen a Granger Smith show, I highly recommend you go do that.
Yeah.
That dude's he puts on one of the best shows I've ever seen.
He's actually coming to town, but I think we're gonna be out of town again when he comes around because he does his Earl Dibbles too.
It's phenomenal, man. I mean, it's a rock show. It's a rock show in overalls, no doubt about it. It is. It's a lot of fun.
Dude, I love it. So I mentioned a little bit about Eric Church. That's kind of where we kind of start, man. Everything behind us. If you guys are just tuning in for the first time tonight, and you guys are watching, we've been diehard Eric Church fans since 2006. Got to see the guy come up. And one cool thing is you have a video of Wrecking Ball on YouTube, which I honestly think you do it better than Church. I'm not gonna lie. That cover is just, dude, it just blows me away. I'm like, all right, this is your song, dude. Church just needs to let you cut it. But you say before that Church got you through some tough times and whatnot. What's some songs that kind of what's some Eric Church songs that resonate with you, man? When you first hear of Eric Church, what's some of your go-to songs?
Man, like Can't Take It With You When You Go. Like his old deep tracks and stuff, Hungover and Hard Up. Obviously he's got, his big hits too, like what was that? Oh heck, what's the name of that song? I know where I come from. How about you?
Yeah, how about
you, man? Like, songs like that, dude. I mean, Eric Church he's one of those people that come out of nowhere, man, and he is living proof that you don't have to have a perfect voice to be one of the biggest names in country music. You just got to have something to say, and man, has that dude ever said it? I mean, there's been a lot of nights I've rode around listening to Eric, letting those tempos and those melodies heal my soul, man. That's fact.
Yeah, dude, and that's why when I watched that video and I heard you say that, I'm like, man, that's why I want to talk to you a little bit about that, because that's the way I felt too. I mean, I got Sinners Like Me tattooed right on my arm just because I've been a diehard fan of his, just because I feel like he changed the game too for singer-songwriters, and especially is kind of paved the way a lot in Nashville the last 10 years. To let people do it themselves. And I mean, you're getting more Ray Fulchers and more singer-songwriters doing it their way, which I love.
That's right.
Including yourself. So that's why we love it. That's why we love connecting with you, man. One thing when I was researching for the show that I read, and that I have a letter my mom wrote me in my garage. I think it was right after I graduated high school or something. It was like a page and a half letter or whatever, just kind of how proud she was and just about my future or whatever. Your mom wrote you a 2-page letter citing every reason why you should pursue music. Do you still have this letter? And tell me a little bit about this, man, and just how much that letter meant to you.
Yeah, I've got it. Still got it stashed back in a box somewhere, man. I haven't read it in a long time. I probably need to get it out and revisit it. But yeah, man. I mean, there's a lot of people in life to make proud. There's your friends and your extended family, and and all those folks in your life that you want to prove something to. But man, when you got your mama at your back like that, that just brings a whole nother element to you want to until you get her done, man. I mean, mama's always told me, I always believed in my voice. Always told me I could probably write a song. And, you know, that old saying, it's funny, man, how when you get older, you realize how right your parents are about things. And you start to respect their view of the world and their angle on things. And I got to say, man, mama couldn't have been more right. I absolutely love my job, and I'm happier. Yeah, I got a lot of stress on me just because this thing's like running a business, but I'm happier than I've ever been right now, man. I just, you know, I got a chance to tell people about small town America and about what it's like to be a blue collar boy, I guess. And that's what country music's all about to me. And man, what an opportunity. I don't think I would have ever seized it if mama hadn't been there to have my back and urge me forward. And, you know, I'm my greatest critic, man. I'm one of those people who I'm a realist. I don't go chasing dreams, and, you know, every dream I've ever had has been down a dirt road somewhere. Damn sure not on the road in planes and on stages and stuff like that. And it's pretty special having a mama like mine who can kind of go against the grain and see the advantage of taking a chance on something like that. And so I got her to thank for it. That's for sure.
I love that, man. Yeah, because they could be an inspirational, and they're always your biggest fan, dude. Like, I know my mom's still in my corner every day, and that's like my mom's son's song at our wedding was Like Jesus Does with Church, and Casey Beathard wrote that one, which was one of the first songs Church released that he didn't even write. So, but man, speaking of Casey, you wrote Old School's In with him. Tell me a little bit about writing with Casey, dude, how that was.
Man, if I was to akin it to anything, I would say it has to be close to watching Picasso paint. It is the man's a genius, and not only is he a genius when it comes to songwriting, but Casey Beathard he's like everybody's long lost football coach, man. I mean, he's kind of the guy in Nashville everybody kind of looks to for advice, because he's just so sound and so dedicated to his faith. And you know, the guy's got millions of dollars, I'm sure, but you would never know it. He's the most humble man you ever met. One of the most beautiful things watching Casey Beathard do during a write is leave the room. That's when you know he's really loving an idea. He's really processing something and fixing to make something great. When he stands up, steps outside, and starts throwing the tennis ball to his dog, and the man will walk back in the house with half a song written of the greatest stuff you've ever heard in your life. He's just one of those people, man. He's very special, and gifted songwriter, man. He'll go down in the history books as one of the greats.
Yeah, man. That's why I'm so lucky, or so glad that you got lucky to write with him too, and we got that together, because just being around that guy, I guess you probably got a lot of just influence and stuff from him.
Yeah. Well, you learn, man. I mean, you learn from every writer's room you sit down in, every different writer you sit down with, you take a little something from them. Yep. It's like that oil field stuff, man. Every old man I worked with out there, I learned a little something from them. Mm-hmm. Got a little better at something here, whatever they specialized in. And Casey specializes in touching your heart. And man, I like to think I learned a little bit from him.
I'm sure you probably, man, out on those oil fields, you probably used to listen to Casey Beathard songs left and right too.
Oh,
I'm sure
yeah,
that was
and I didn't even know.
Yeah,
back when I didn't even know they were Casey Beathard songs. You know, there's no telling how many people. Well, that's what's crazy, man. Looking back, like on the Stapleton stuff and all that, yep. and all the years that we've been listening to Chris Stapleton songs, and we never knew who the man was. You know, there's a whole mass of amazing songwriters in this town who carry this whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And man, they're the best kind of people, man, because they're, what is that? Great men will plant a seed of a tree whose shade they'll never sit under or whatever. Mm-hmm. They're kind of like that, man. They don't need the credit, they don't need the recognition. They just want to hear a great song and watch their friends' dreams come true.
Oh yeah, man. And I talked about it earlier. We had Mark Allen Springer on, and when he was on, he mentioned you and he sung your praise, man. Honestly, he was like, yo, that's the guy you gotta get on. I'm like, man, I've been wanting to get Heath on for a long
Working on
time.
it.
I'm working on it. And he's
That's
just
my
like,
guy right there.
yeah,
Did
he's
he
like,
tell you now? I don't know if he told you, but that's another reason that I'm in Nashville too.
yeah.
He took me under his wing when I first started coming to town. Didn't know the guy from Adam, and man, he reached a hand out to me and let me stay in his house. Man, I mean, just took me and treated me like family, and I'll forever be in that family's debt. It's amazing people.
Man, I'm sure you guys wrote a bunch of good songs too together too.
We did, dude. We got one called "God Bless the Working Man." It's one of my favorite songs that I've ever written. Dude. It's a jam.
Yeah, so what connected me with Mark Allen Springer is going back to our grandpas talking about that was Grandpa Told Me So, the Kenny Chesney cut. Like that was my song. Like that was after my grandfather passed in 2000. Like that was just the song I went to all the time. So we had him on like the 25th anniversary or whatever, 23rd anniversary of my grandfather when he passed. We had Mark Allen on February 6th. So that was just amazing to have him on and be able to talk about that song.
That's
so it's cool, man.
My maternal grandpa, his favorite song is "Where Corn Don't Grow." Mark wrote that several years back, and it's funny, man, to watch old Papa sit around and sing that song, and I know where it comes from. I know the fella who made that. It's pretty neat.
That's cool.
So you guys did Down on the South, and it was inspired by some advice that Mark gave you after struggling with some solo writes. Now, when you write, do you prefer prefer solo, or do you prefer having a co-write on there, or how do you go?
Man, every song's different. I don't think it comes down to your preference. I think it comes down to what the song demands. There's a lot of songs that, man, if I got to dig deep to find it, and if it's really personal, you don't want anybody putting input in it that would taint, what is so personal about it. On the other side of that, there are songs where someone else's view on the subject is a must and is a necessity. So it really depends on what song you're writing. There's most of my best songs, man, I'll be honest with you, have been with co-writes. I mean, I've been with other great songwriters, and I wouldn't have it any other way, man.
Oh yeah, when you get in the room with Mark Allen Springer and Casey Beathard, I mean, definitely you're like, all right.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you don't really want to write by yourself after you're up with them.
we had Corey Smith on recently, and he talked about how for years he was just solo writer.
Yeah, he didn't want to write with anybody else.
He was hard-headed. Yeah. He just wanted to do it all himself, and he had 15 albums where he produced himself or whatever it was, and he finally this past opened up to having
during
co-writes.
COVID, I think, right? Yeah. Wasn't it that he finally was like, all right, I'll try writing with somebody.
So it's just,
and he loves it.
He's phenomenal, man. He's phenomenal. I saw on Instagram a while ago where he's shooting the music video to Daddy's Weed.
Dude.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man. I'm a huge Corey fan. We get to open up for him once back early on. It was a pleasant experience, man. That dude he's incredible.
He's a good guy.
Him and Ben Chapman wrote that song together, and it's a cool little story behind that and everything else, because he said that they walked out of the studio when they were writing one day, and he opened up Ben Chapman's door, and just this weed smell hit him in the face. And Corey's like,
man, your truck smells like weed.
Yeah, he goes, I don't get to smoke much flower anymore because I got kids. And Ben Chapman's like, yeah, you don't want them to smell of Daddy's weed. And he goes, man, we got to go back and write that. But dude, that song is this. We got to hear it a year ago. So yeah. I hear it, Joe's at Chicago. I'm like, that song's going to be badass. It's going to be a hit. So Common Ground EP was released in 2021. Your latest singles, Raised on Red and Haymaker. I got to tell you, man, Raised on Red, that is a badass song. Duet with Justin Moore. Our buddy Dawson Edwards was a co-writer on there. We've had Dawson on the show. He's an amazing guy. Tell me about that song, man, about how that song came about, and just, dude, it's another song. Like I said, I'm a Chicago guy, but dude, when I hear songs like that, it just takes me back to my days when we spent like 5 years in Mississippi, and takes me back to those days of just, man, loving life. Just being out there and loving it. Yeah,
but dude, my whole thing with the song, man, was that Arkansas is. Everything about Arkansas is red. And I'm so proud to be from my home state, man. Like I truly am. Like I absolutely love Arkansas. But yeah, from the state flag to the Razorbacks to just, man, my grandpa dipping that old red man and driving red trucks and just, dude, that if somebody was to, say match the states with colors, I mean, Arkansas is red, dude. And that's what I love so much about the song. And I think we wrote it, vague enough where people can relate their own life to it. They don't got to be from Arkansas or from a red state, so to speak, to be able to equate to it. So, and having Justin on there, dude, we just doubled up Arkansas on it. It's so cool to me, man. He's one of my heroes. He's a good dude. So, yeah, special song there, man. Pretty proud of that one.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I heard Dawson's version and I heard your version. I'm like, damn, dude, he just brings that song to life. I love that. You guys both just rock on it.
I love that, man.
Yeah, Jillian has some friends that live down in Arkansas, and we got to watch that upset this weekend. So
yeah, we watched the game.
That was that Arkansas Kansas game. That was good.
A good game.
Man, that's the only thing bad about being on the road and having to ride all the time, man. I don't even get to watch ball anymore. I don't even get to watch it. So you guys keep me updated, though.
That's the first basketball game I watched in a long time. It was a good game.
It was a good game.
So what does 2023 look like for you, man? You working on any music, some shows coming up? What's your year look like for you?
Dude, it actually looks freaking awesome. So the big news, and we have yet to share this, so it's kind of, you heard it here first, I guess.
Hell yeah.
But we left Big Machine, parted ways with Big Machine about a year ago, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, we've kind of been negotiating with other labels and talking to other labels and stuff about, moving forward with some music and all that. And man, after everything we've learned from being in Nashville and just me and my team are certainly more knowledgeable on how the industry works now. We had a meeting and we just decided that we're just going to go fully independent, man. We are going to just start putting out music. It seems like every time we sign on a dotted line somewhere, it just kind of puts the brakes on things, and we don't get to put the music out that we want to or how we want to put it out. And so 2023 is going to be the stripped down raw version of Heath Sanders, man. We're going to pick a few songs and get to putting them out. Not the ones we think radio will play. We're going to pick the ones that we love and we think the fans want to hear.
Yeah.
And roll with this thing. I am so excited. That's the one thing that we were never able to do when we came to Nashville, was figure out for ourselves exactly who we are, as far as what we put out and how the world views the brand Heath Sanders. Basically, that's what I'm saying. We didn't get to build a brand really before we started signing with labels and making deals and stuff when we come into town. We were just excited. We were just on a heater and we really didn't know the industry and how to navigate it, or what to do. And I think all that over the last 5 years has changed substantially. And so, man, I've never been this excited about making music, in a long time. I am so freaking pumped. I really am.
Congratulations.
Thanks. I hope everybody.
That's exciting.
We're excited for you too.
Everybody tends to think that the record labels are the make it or break it, man. You got to have one.
Look what's going on lately.
You can do so much on your own and have that freedom, that
your
creativity.
jelly rolls now and stuff, dude. Look at these guys are just independent, just blowing up and doing their own thing. You guys,
I'm not saying that labels are out of the question or that going to radio at some point's out of the question, but man, I want to build my brand and give people what they want. The people who have supported this thing for the last 5 years. I'm tired of worrying about radio and people who've never heard us before, which I do worry about, and we want to take it. But I want to give these folks who have waited all these years for Heath Sanders just to give us consistent, solid music. And that's what we're going to do, man. We're just going to start putting it out and see how it goes.
Hell yeah, man. You got to look into Carol's Pub in Chicago. If you want to get out and try to play some shows, it's like a Joe's on Weed Street venue ran by the same guy. I'll try to put you in touch with the guy, because if you ever get out on the road, that'd be a place that you want to play. It holds about 200. Perfect little honky tonk here in Chicago, dude. And I think you fit perfect in there, dude. Yeah. So yeah, we'll definitely have to get you up here and play a couple shows, man, because honestly, I love the fact that you're going independent now and being that way. I know Tucker Bethard really good talking about Casey, and I know he was with Big Machine for a while and how he had to part ways, and he was just so much more happier after that. And it's the fact that you got to do what makes you feel right, doing what you feel is, hey, this is what I need to do for me, and this is what best is going to represent who I am in the music industry.
Yeah.
You have
a lot of people won't tell you this, and I won't talk about this, but the average song on radio, or every song on radio right now is on average of 4 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That means that the song was written 4 years ago before it finally made its way into from the artist's hands, or from the writer's hands to the artist's hands, to the label's hands, to radio's hands. And that is such a long process, and it's so easy to lose excitement and passion about a song, especially when you're writing 4 and 5 songs a week. So easy to lose passion and excitement about that one song that you were so excited about over the course of 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
What I want the freedom to do is to write a song, and if I want to cut it and I want people to hear it in 2 weeks, I can go hit the studio and I can have it out to them.
Yes.
That's our number one priority. Obviously this is a business, and you're trying to sell something. You're trying to make a living off this thing. But if you ain't got nothing to sell people, if you have nothing to give them, it's really hard to make it, man. And a lot of times Nashville seems to stifle itself and get in its own way of wonderful music,
Mm-hmm.
I might have been pulling the curtain back too far.
No. Well, hey, we're always in your corner, man. And that's why we love that you're going independent. We love that you're going to do this thing, because we'll be waving the Heath Sanders flag over here for years to come, man. So we'll definitely, anytime you put out a single or anything, we'll help push it as much as we can. And dude, honestly, like I said, we are definitely in your corner always. And we love this new route you're taking, dude. And can't wait to see what this year brings you.
Thank you, brother.
We're excited. I was flipping through some pictures here, and I saw a picture where you're at the Brewers game drinking some spotted cow, man. You got to tell me a little bit about that.
Dude, that stuff good, man. Who would have thought spotted cow would be good, but it's freaking delicious, man. It's really good.
I quit drinking about 3 years ago, but that's what I used to have on tap, because we live right on the Illinois-Wisconsin border, so I could drive like a mile and pick up like a keg of spotted cow, and dude, that was my go-to all the time.
Yeah, everybody was toting them back in the plane on the way out. Like they were just spotted cows just lined in the aisle. Like,
yeah, get them anywhere but Wisconsin.
Yeah, so good, man. Yeah, I went up there and saw that game with a bunch of good folks from Big Machine, and had a good time up there. Dude, that's my first Major League Baseball game.
Really? That's awesome. Yeah, we live about 45 minutes from there.
Yeah, it broke me in right too, because nobody scored a run until I think it was the bottom of the 10th.
Oh my gosh, that's a long game.
Yeah, it was one of those. It was a long one. Yeah.
Well, I love it, man. Well, we're gonna move on to our Powered by Poddex, our sponsored part of the night. We pulled a couple cards earlier. The first one we pulled was, we've talked a little bit about like Mark Allen Springer and Casey Beathard and stuff, but over the years, who has mentored you or taught you the most about being a musician, being who you are today?
Over the years?
Yeah. Who's mentored you or taught you the most about being an artist? I've
learned almost everything on my own. I really haven't had a whole lot of coaching. I think it's been a collective. I don't know if I could name one person who just led me or really taught me. I think it's kind of like the songwriting thing, man. Little bits and pieces of conversations with Marty Rabin on his tour bus, conversations with Justin Moore after the show. Yeah. Just what they saw that I could polish on and work on. And I think Nashville, just as a collective, has really honed me as a musician and as an artist, and kind of corrected me when I've got off path a little bit. There's always somebody in town who'll wrap their arm around you, pat you on the shoulder, and say, "Hey, buddy, you're kind of missing it here," and set you on the right path. So I think it's all the Nashville as a collective, man, who've really steered me.
I love that, man. I love that, because you take a little bit from everything and just put it all together.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, because you want to be yourself. You want to mold, be who you want to be, and just that's why I love it. All right, dude. This is gonna be a fun one. I've never asked this one before, but I was flipping through these cards and this one popped up. I was like, I gotta pull this one out. If you had to cover one album from start to finish, which album would you choose?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Now, that is a good question. I don't know if I could pull it off, but just as far as just having fun and rocking out and covering a full album, I think I would do Southern by the Cadillac 3. That entire album was so good. Are you familiar with Cadillac 3?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. I love those guys. They're one of my favorite bands to ever exist. And just do a cover album, dude. We'd go full Southern rock.
That'd be
on
fun.
and just get crazy. Yeah, love that album, dude. That was
I love that.
a landmark. That was also a landmark album out of Nashville, man. Those guys really changed the game too. Opened it up for Whiskey Myers and all that stuff, man. So
they're playing Milwaukee with Cole Wetzel Friday night. I'm like, that'd be a good show to see. Those
that's gonna get rowdy right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was hoping you'd go more of that route. I'm like, he's gonna go with a Tool record for sure. I was like, man, just trying to think about covering one of those, dude.
There are bands that I don't cover, man. And Tool's one of them. AC/DC, Guns N' Roses. Like I kind of steer away from the greats, the greats. You know, like there are vocal things that just don't sound right with me doing them.
And I know I saw that you did the Raised Rowdy Rock Night, dude. That's awesome that they're doing those things, dude. That was
so fun, dude. You guys got to come down to that. I waited my whole life for that moment. I really did, because I love that stuff. I loved Shinedown and Seether and all those bands, dude. I loved Limp Bizkit when I was in high school. I mean, dude.
Yeah, I saw how much fun that looked. I was like, damn, I gotta come down for the next one, because we normally do about 4 writers rounds a year, but I was like, dude, those rock nights they're doing are just out of this world. This is badass.
That was a lot of fun, man.
So, all right, man, our next section, we're gonna play 4 short clips of a song, 4 different songs. We're gonna talk about your first memory you have with that song. All
right.
Let's see.
If you have a memory.
Yeah, if you do. Well, I think it could be a couple. Hit the yellow one. I'm forever yours. So when you hear Journey Faithfully, man, where does that take you?
That takes me to mom's Pontiac Grand Am, man. I remember when mom went through several phases. When I was really little, mom would listen to, country. She was real, listen to a lot of country stuff. And by the time I was in my young teenage years, mom had went back to her rock roots. And we listened to a lot of Steve Miller Band, a lot of Journey, a lot of those bands like that, a lot of Led Zeppelin and stuff. And man, me and mom would ride around, and we'd sing to the top of our lungs, man. I always like to tell the story. She used to impress the far out of me, man, because I was a drummer, and so like tempo and beat was everything. And mom she wore a ring on all 4 fingers on her right hand, and she'd have them fingers down there on that gear shifter, back when everything was stick shift, and she'd get to tapping out beats, and when them rings, boy, that used to just blow me away. I thought mom was so cool. She'd keep in beats with her rings, but yeah, Faithfully and stuff like that takes me right back there, man. I love it.
All right, let's see if this green or this other one does. Hit the green one.
Working on a night move.
Seeger Night Moves. Where's this song taking you?
Bro, I think because I didn't find Seeger till like after high school. Like I think one of my first real like old rock albums was Aerosmith. And then that led me over to Bob Seger and all that, dude. Definitely worked on some night moves, man. I think that's probably where to take most people. You didn't just listen to that song. Listen to that song had a purpose.
The first time I ever took my dad to see Eric Church, he opened up for Bob Seger, and we got to see Church and Bob Seger together. And dude, it was an amazing show. And I'll always remember that show from when I hear Bob Seger. It just takes me right there. I hit the other one.
If tomorrow never
So I heard you talk a lot about Garth Brooks, man. So tomorrow comes. When you hear that song, where's that taking you?
Right back to my little bedroom at my mom's house in Greenbrier, Arkansas. Dad wouldn't let me listen to country music, but Mom would. And I remember every album that Garth Brooks ever had. I'd go buy it as soon as it came out. And then I ended up with that. He released that box set.
Yeah.
And I remember locking myself away and listening to that stuff for hours and hours. You talk about influences and people who've honed you as an artist, not directly, but Garth Brooks is someone I've always kind of modeled myself after as an artist. I love how he can go from party Garth to pulling a tear out of folks, to raising a a crowd of 15,000 people with the lift of an eyebrow. I mean, the dude is just next level. I think he's the greatest of all time, if I'm honest with you.
He's larger than life, dude. We got to see him perform in Chicago, and we got upgraded right before, like 10 minutes before he went on. We were walking around. It was our first night out. So it was about 8-9 years ago. It was our first night out after our firstborn.
Jackson was just born.
And we're walking around this the very nosebleed area, and this lady comes up to us and says, "Hey, I got to interview Garth Brooks earlier, and he gave me 2 front row tickets. Would you like to come sit with me?" And Jillian starts crying.
I looked at her and I was like,
she starts crying. I'm like, "You're lying, whatever." And she's like, "No." And dude, we got to just watch the whole show front row. And I think I took one picture on my phone when he came over by me, and I put my phone away. I said, "I am not. I'm enjoying this."
That's a fact, dude. Incredible. That's so awesome, man. I'm gonna start going to concerts with y'all if y'all dragging around that kind of love.
You must have looked pathetic. These poor people. This lady hasn't.
Come to find out, she's one of the biggest writers. She used to work for CMT and one of the biggest writers in all of country music. And we had her on the show about a year ago. But I don't know if you know who Alison Bonaguru is, but she's a big writer in the country music world. And dude, that was cool because we got to reconnect years later over everything.
Well, it's even cooler. She wrote a book about all of the stuff that she's experienced throughout her career. We read the book, and our story was in her book.
No,
we even met her before we even met her.
Cool.
Because I was such a sap, I think.
I love that.
So this next one, the last one we got, this made me a Heath Sanders fan. When I heard you do the cover of this song, I was like, all right, this guy I got to look into. So go ahead and hit that green one.
He was my best friend. He taught me how to fish.
So when you hear those I Loved from my church, man, where's that song take you?
Bro, I just think about, in my mind, it takes me right where the song is supposed to take you, brother. Mm-hmm. Right to your grandpa, right to that first love. I'm telling you, man, and even now, just over the last 5 years, man, the people who've loved me along the way, dude, who have come out and supported, and mom having you back. And I don't know, man, that song right there is some kind of stout. I forgot I even knew that song, dude. I forgot I covered that song.
I think it was one of your earliest covers you have, because it was shortly after I first heard of you on the Bobby Bones show. I started digging. I heard you cover that song. I was like, dude, I'm sold. I'm a Heath Sanders fan.
That's cool, man.
So I love it.
Yeah, them old deep tracks of Eric's, bro, were just they were as good, or not better, than the songs that went to radio. If anybody listening right now hasn't done their deep dive on Eric, I highly recommend you do.
Yeah, dude, that song. We got to go see him at his old high school, and he sang that for the first time ever. Like on his football field of his old high school. I'm like, dude, that song is just one of the best. All right, buddy, we're gonna put you on the hot seat real quick. So we're gonna ask you 10 quick questions. First thing that comes up, just spit it out. We'll see where we go from there. Your first CD or vinyl you ever purchased?
Matchbox 20s, Yourself and Someone Like You.
Thank you. My favorite. Absolute favorite.
Where's your happy place? Where do you love going? If you're going to have a couple of days off, where you escaping to?
There's a spot on Bear Creek in Searcy County, Arkansas, where a little runoff called Holer Creek meets Bear Creek, and there's a little turn in the creek right there. And I wrote many songs about that spot. Yeah, that's where me and Papa, 9 times out of 10, me and Papa was going fishing. That's where we was going. And not many people know about it. They've repaved the road and stuff, and knocked down the bridge and all that. They used to kind of signify that the path was there. So it's kind of hid from the rest of the world now. And that's my happy place right there on Bear Creek. If I end up in a lawn chair taking my last breath right there, I guess I die a happy man.
Love that. Who is the best pizza you ever had?
The best pizza?
Yep.
Right off the top of my head, there's this place in Heber Springs, Arkansas, Greers Ferry, Arkansas, called Big Mouth Pizza. It's got a big largemouth bass on the sign. Right there on the lake, and they had the most delicious cheese I ever tasted in my life. Maybe I need to come up and see y'all, and y'all can change my ways a little bit.
Get you some Chicago deep dish. Yeah. What's your wallpaper on your phone?
It's a quote. It
Okay.
says, I believe it says to be great in front of thousands, you have to be great when thousands are looking. You have to practice like there are thousands looking when no one's watching, or something like that. That's just something like that.
Love it.
That's awesome.
So
Dude.
look,
All
I
right.
wasn't on my phone. I looked at you.
What's a movie that can always make you laugh?
Dumb and Dumber, always. Dumb and Dumber or Step Brothers. Those are my
Oh my
go-to.
gosh.
Mine's Tommy Boy.
Yeah.
Mine's always Tommy Boy.
Dude, I'm telling you, Chris Farley is so amazing, dude.
Our son is like Christopher.
Yeah. What's the best Wi-Fi name you've ever seen?
I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Uh,
You always see strange Wi-Fi names. What's a good one you've seen?
I don't know, brother. I'm probably not going to have an answer to that one.
Everybody goes with FBI van all the time. FBI surveillance van. What's the oldest thing you own? The oldest thing in your home?
The oldest thing I own.
Mm-hmm.
Probably the old guitar my dad gave me that my grandpa bought him.
Nice, dude.
It's an old. I can't think of what the name of it is, what brand it is, but dad passed it on down to me. It ain't even playable no more. The thing's just warped all to pieces, but it sure got the memories on it. But yeah, old guitar got passed down to me. It's probably the oldest thing I own.
Love that. What chore do you not like doing?
Anything pertaining to housework, dishes, laundry, all that. It's bad life for a bachelor for that to be the most hated thing. But I absolutely hate cleaning the house and doing dishes and stuff. I hate it.
What was your favorite childhood television TV show?
Probably the Randy Griffith Show.
I love
My
that.
grandpa, I think we had 3 channels at Papa's house. He was the only one in my family with a TV, and it was there was Captain Kangaroo came on early in the morning, and then Sesame Street, and I'd watch that, and then I'd flop back down there when the Andy Griffith Show come back on.
Love it. Love it.
That was my favorite as a child. I
Okay.
know that's kind of cliche, but it's true. That's about all it played at my house or my grandpa's house.
That question came up because I heard the Fraggle Rock theme one day. And I'm like,
Yes.
that was my favorite. One of my favorite shows was Fraggle Rock, man. I'm like, yes. That's why I had to throw that question in there. And our last one for the night, man. What's an item that's on your bucket list? What's something that you want to accomplish? Is it, you've got to play the rhyming, right? You've already played the rhyme with Bobby Bones? So you got to do that. You got to write with Casey Butler. What's something that's still on your bucket list, man? That's awesome that you get to do
As
that.
far as musically goes,
Yeah.
and just professionally,
Your musical
dude,
bucket.
I want to play Red Rocks, bro.
Hell yeah.
I want to play Red Rocks. That's on my bucket list, man. I've never been, and I've always told my team I don't ever want to go until I'm stepping on the stage. Just so it's that much more special to me. But yeah, that's definitely on my bucket list. I also want to shake Garth Brooks' hand, and I also want to hug Chris Stapleton's neck.
That'd be awesome. That'd be cool. I'd meet Garth one day. That would be on my highlights. You know, Red Rocks, we've never been though. But if you ever get play out there, we'll definitely have to travel out there or something. Because I'm waiting to get out there one of these days, man. The place looks phenomenal. Well, before we let you go, man, can we get you to play this one?
Yeah, dude.
The only thing I asked is just tell us a little backstory about it before and tell us where the song came from.
Man, is there anything in particular you guys want to hear? I could play y'all something that nobody's ever heard. Or
Yeah,
I could play y'all something that's cut.
We're gonna give you the stage. So whatever it is that you would like to play, and if you want to debut something, hey, we're not gonna complain.
Let's see here. My let's see if I can find a pick here somewhere, maybe. My manager's been wanting me to cut this song. It's kind of a fun and silly song. And I've been fighting him on it, but I think he's about to talk me into it. So I'll let y'all hear it. Y'all let me know what you think. See if it's any count. It's kind of fun, but I wrote this with Ben Hayslip and another buddy of mine. And It's called Bars in Business. And man, it just talking about how broken hearts is what keeps the bars in business, man. Yeah, everybody goes there to have a good time, but when it all boils down to it, if it wasn't for broken hearts, we wouldn't have bars in the first place. So, bars in business. Here we go. Y'all ready?
Yeah, here's the stage.
You got blue collars with the names on the shirts, plowboys still covered in dirt, walking in for a bucket after work, nothing but time to kill. You can always find a couple pretty things, out of towners hiding in wedding rings, the same old locals watching the game, but that ain't what pays the bills. Broken hearts keep the bars in business, lonely nights keep the neon on, nothing make you do some bar stool sitting like girls like you, guys like me are on. Ain't nothing like love when you're in it, but when it don't go like it should, broken hearts keep the bars in business, and baby, business is good. Headlines I'm up and I'm knocking back, the only way to get a tab like that, sitting there praying that you might come home. Bartender won't say it, but he hopes you stay gone, 'cause broken hearts keep the bars in business, lonely nights keep the neon on, nothing make you do some bar stool sitting like girls like you, guys like me alone. Ain't nothing like love when you're in it, but when it don't go like it should, broken hearts keep the bars in business. Yeah, and baby, business is good. Yeah, business is good. They even took the sign down over the door. There ain't no $5 fine for whining no more, 'cause broken hearts keep the bars in business, lonely nights keep the neon on, nothing make you do some bar stool sitting like girls like you, guys like me are on. Ain't nothing like love when you're in it, but when it don't go like it should, broken hearts keep the bars in business, and baby, business is good. Yeah, baby, business is good.
Dude, that one's good.
All right.
I loved that song. I
Dude.
think your manager's right. You should cut it.
Yeah,
I loved that. It was great.
Yeah,
I think all of our viewers liked it too.
I think we will cut it. I think, a lot of our songs have been really, really serious, and that's something that we haven't capitalized on yet. It's kind of our sense of humor, and some of the guys I've wrote with sense of humor, and I think we will. I think our next songs will probably be a little more lighthearted and a little more romantic for the ladies, if you will. And,
well, that one fits, man. It's a unique song. I love it, dude. It's just the lyrics and everything, dude. It was an awesome.
It was a good song,
man.
Yeah, I think we should cut it.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, Heath, man, I honestly, first, thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with us tonight. I know we ran a little over, but I appreciate this, dude. This has been a blast.
Oh, dude, thank y'all, man. If we ran over, it's probably my fault.
No, man.
No, it's good.
It's been great. I can talk to you all the time, man. This is awesome.
Dude, it's really good to see you. And Jillian, great to meet you, honey.
You too. Thank you.
Yes, dude. But we won't wish you nothing but the best, dude. We are so proud of you and how far you've come over the last couple of years, and honestly, being able to watch your journey ever since the day you stepped foot in Nashville and everything else. That was your first time in Nashville, right?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I've never been in Nashville before.
Dude, that was amazing.
Coming down to the Bobby thing.
Yeah, it's been amazing to see your journey since then, dude. And honestly, like I said, we'll be waving that flag as long as we can over here.
Well, brother, I sure appreciate the support. And down the road, if there's anything I can do for you guys, you let me know, man.
Well, if you ever need a photographer out on the road, let me know. I'll come out and help you out as much as I can.
I know you got your work cut out for you, photographer, in this ugly mug right here.
Oh man, I love it, dude. That's my other passion other than doing this show. I love running around with a camera in my hand at shows and just taking pictures. So I'm excited for. We're shooting. I'm actually doing the Luke Combs show in Pittsburgh in a couple weeks. So I'm pretty excited for that. It's gonna be this big stadium show. I get to shoot that. So that's gonna be a fun one. But dude, like I said, thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight, and we wish you nothing but the best, buddy.
Yeah, thank you guys. I appreciate y'all, man.
You have a great night, Heath.
Talk to you soon.
Bye,
buddy.
Bye.
Bye. That was fun.
It's so fun.
Dude is just down to earth, genuine, just kind hearted, everything.
Yeah.
You want an artist.
I'm excited that he gets to do his thing now. Yeah. Like, I think he's going to put out some really good stuff too, you know?
You always hear horror stories about everything. Like,
I don't even know so much that it's horror stories, but like you said, it's a process. It takes time.
It does. And
he wants to be able to do what he wants to do when he wants to do it. And I think that's a lot of artists are starting to want to do that. And I think the consumer, like the listener, that's what they want too. Like, I don't, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, they don't know that songs are that old, but I feel like when you hear, like me with Adam Hambrick, remember I heard that song and I was like, oh my God, I want to be able to hear that song. Like,
and it's finally coming out.
And it's been a year later, a year and a half, and he's finally cutting it, you know? So I just feel like that's the thing. Listeners, when they hear a song, like with Bowen Young, that Aurora song, I was like, oh my God, I want to listen to that song like immediately.
Yeah.
You know, and I think being independent, it'll probably be forever before we get to hear it. Maybe not. But I think he's right. I think he hit the nail on the head. The consumer wants to hear.
The pandemic changed. I know people sometimes don't want to. I mean, whatever. The pandemic changed. I think music as we see it today, where I don't think you need the big labels anymore because during the pandemic, everybody started becoming these independent artists, and they used platforms like TikTok and Instagram and Facebook and everything else.
It's so much more accessible.
Yeah, and
your consumer is more accessible. You needed that label,
and like he says, you could run your own business. You could be your own business and put it together. Get the right people in your corner, and which I think he's building the right people.
I think he's making the right decision. He's gonna do great.
Yeah, dude. I mean, watch out, guys. He's gonna do some big things this year. Big things coming his way. I'm really proud of him. And like I said, just to see his journey, to see where he's came from and everything else, to see from when the first time he sang Bloodline on the Bobby Bones show to singing that song tonight, which that song was good.
It was a good song. Everyone agrees he should cut it. If you're listening, Heath still.
Yeah.
We all agree.
Yeah, we'll definitely. I cannot wait. So let's see. We always ask a pod deck question before we go.
I don't even remember what were they.
But neither of them really go. Pull one out of the deck. Pull a card out of the deck, a random card out of the deck over there, and then before we go. So we have our sponsor. We talked earlier. It's called Pod Decks. They're these little cards, these deck of cards that Jillian's holding on to, and it's always fun. If we do interviews out on the road, we always ask one random question, and we ask each artist a couple random questions every night. And with tonight's were a little, what albums would you cover from track 1 to track whatever, and who's mentored you most as a musician? Well, we're not musicians, and if we're gonna cover an album, it's not gonna be good. Don't look at it; it's cheating. You just gotta pull a random one. That's
okay, well then we're not doing this deck. I'm sorry, I am a mother and a.
Those
are not some appropriate questions for
if you pull,
live on Facebook.
If you pull one that's not appropriate, then we could skip that one. But just pull a random.
Let's shuffle these cards.
That's funny.
You guys are in for the Aaron and Jillian show. Here we go.
Oh, we'll do a quick one before we let everybody go. So, all right, read it out loud.
I can't say that word.
Oh my God.
Okay, I can't even say that word. What are most people afraid of that doesn't scare you?
Ooh.
Most people are afraid of that doesn't scare you.
A lot of people are scared of large crowds. They don't like being in large crowds. I still like being in large crowds, even though like the last couple of years,
that's a good one.
The last couple of years, I've developed some anxiety and everything else a little bit more than I've had in the past. I still like We use this as an example. Lollapalooza is probably one of the biggest music fests ever.
Don't ever go to Lollapalooza.
I
That
took
place
Jillian
is
one year.
terrifying.
I loved it. Like we were in the middle, like front row for Eric
Some
Church.
people, you know
huge.
what? Those are pit people.
I
Those
lo-
people that
I
like
lost-
to be in the pit.
I lost Jillian in
People
the
are
crowd.
spilling beer on you and
She was
sweating
right there
on you.
next to me for 1 second. I turned around. She's like 6 rows deep in the back. I don't know what the hell happened to her. I couldn't find her anywhere. But I think that's one thing that a lot of people are scared of large crowds, like a lot of that. And
Yeah.
I like that. I'm comfortable in that kind of situation because we're all kind of vibing at the same time, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't know.
Sure.
What about you?
Oh, medical emergencies.
Oh, you're a nurse.
I know. I don't know. I mean, a lot of people are afraid, like if somebody gets hurt or if somebody's like, I don't know, people get like, like when something's wrong with the kids, you're like, Jill,
I'm out. I tag you in
if
on
there's
that.
blood, any kind of bodily fluid involved, you're like, I'm done.
Tagging you in.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't have another good one. I'm a worry wart.
It's a
I'm
good
worried
one.
about everything.
It's a good one.
But yeah, medical emergencies, I'm good.
All right.
You go down, you want me near you.
If you guys have any good one, put it in the chat. Kind of what doesn't scare you that scares most people. If you have a good one, throw it in the chat. We do appreciate you guys hanging around and listening to us tonight. We're kind of just banter for a little bit and have a little bit of fun. So it's always a good time. But we want to thank you for joining us tonight on episode 161 with Heath Sanders. It was an absolute pleasure to hear his passion and drive for music. We wish Heath nothing but the best in all of his future endeavors and can't wait to see what he accomplishes in 2023 and beyond. We have been truly inspired by Heath's commitment to music and can't wait to see what the future holds for him. Thank you for being a part of the show tonight and for sharing in this incredible journey with us. Don't forget to catch up on everything you missed from tonight and past episodes over at melodiesandmemories.com. That's melodiesandmemories.com. And then we'll see you, I would say next week, but I think we're going to take a couple weeks off and we're going to be
Spring
back.
break.
Yeah,
Our
we got
kids have
spring break.
break.
And
We're covering Lainey this week.
Next week we're going to be
Oh,
covering
I
Lainey
thought that was
Wilson.
this week. I got my weeks mixed up. Next
So,
week we're covering Lainey,
that's gonna be
which
a good
is
one.
super exciting. I've
And
never
Warren-
seen her.
And Warren Ziders.
And Warren, we've seen Warren before. We've got to talk to him.
So,
That's exciting.
Tune into all of our socials if
Yeah.
you guys can't. Haven't followed us yet on Facebook, YouTube,
We've got a lot of
Instagram.
exciting stuff coming up.
everywhere. So, but thank you guys for tuning in tonight, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
The Melodies and Memories podcast with Jillian and Aaron Schreiber, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Jillian and Aaron connect more melodies and memories with the fans and artists they love. Thank you for being a part of this musical journey, and we will see you next time on the Melodies and Memories podcast with Jillian and Aaron Schreiber.